Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to World at War Comics. Today, my special guest, Mr. Joseph Oliveira. Joseph, thank you for being with me today, man. I cannot wait to talk about everything that you're doing. AfterLight Comics, man. When I first went back and forth, I didn't realize how many titles you have put out in a very short time, man. You were a comic book producing machine, man.
Yeah, I know. It's hard for me to look back on and as well. I'm always on to the next project, so I don't really look back that much. And as you can see, I probably look back. There's a few titles on the wall that needs updating. But I'm running out of space a little bit. But it's cool. It's cool. I'm just incredibly grateful to be able to tell the stories, and get them out there. So yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, maybe before we get into Afterlight and your current Kickstarter that starts tomorrow, maybe we could talk about kind of your path into comic books. I mean, is this something that you grew up with? You were always a comic book fan, or is this something later in life that you were attracted to? When did that start?
It started well. So basically, I've always had a passion for storytelling. I started off. My parents brought me back a small video camera about the size of my fist, back from their trip from Las Vegas when I was like 14, 15. And I just thought, what am I going to do with this? And I thought, I'll just mess around, make some short films, come up with some stories. And it just evolved from there, really. And the short films got better, a bit better and better, and just making them with friends. And it got up to the point where in like 2010, I was nominated for a Young Person's BAFTA Award for one of my short films.
Oh, wow.
So that, yeah, I was down in Leicester Square, and it was a big ceremony, and that was awesome. And really it gave me a inspiration and confidence that the stories that I'm trying to tell and things. There's something there. So my plan was to go to try and go into Canada, get some work experience on film sets, and try and break myself in there. And just before then, I ended up getting this full-time job at a car factory, and the money was really good. And I was planning on to save the money, have a bit more money before I went. And the years just ticked on and ticked on and ticked on, and got comfortable, and then had like 5 years there, and I was like, oh, this sucks, like I'm loading the same part into a machine every single day. I need to get back to telling a story somehow. So I didn't have the time there because it was like 50-hour weeks, and so I just started. I picked up the Walking Dead comic series just randomly, and that really opened my eyes basically to the comics world. That it doesn't just have to be superheroes, because superheroes never really appealed to me as a kid, or it was never really put in my hands. So it opened my eyes to we can tell like other non-super human stories, and obviously horror was my kind of passion. So it really started from there, and obviously Walking Dead was horror. I liked horror, so it really helped with looking at the panels and seeing how a pacing of a comic worked. And then it just led on to my first Kickstarter, which was Ghost Island issue 1, and that was successfully funded, thankfully. And it all just snowballed from there, basically. Yeah.
I mean, it's been amazing. I don't, just so people know, I think this is your 40th Kickstarter, which is, like you said, man, you're a machine, man. It's incredible. I think you started in 2018. That's when Ghost Island was first published, if I'm not mistaken. And since then, 40 Kickstarters and about 39 titles, 40 including the one that starts tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
That's right, man. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it just all snowballed from there, that first Kickstarter. And I've learned a lot from that first one, and it really, like I say, snowballed there. I'm always learning, every single one, 40 Kickstarters later. If you're not learning, you're not growing. And know, if I wasn't learning, obviously we wouldn't have this many comics, if I just stunted, because I did actually have one failed Kickstarter campaign, which was for Ghost Island issue 2, where I was trying to bite off a bit more than I could chew and try and fund like a really large book. It was like 14 50 pages. Took a bit of a knockback. Could have gone away and, felt sorry for myself and, just fade off into the distance. And, it's a kick in the, it's a hard pill to swallow, when it doesn't work out. But it was an incredible learning experience for me, and people really showed up, for the relaunch of coming back, and that really gave me, inspiration again. Because what we did was we split the issue into a smaller comic into two, and then we just continued on from then. And I learned a lot from that experience. If anybody ever has a failed Kickstarter, it's all about taking the positives from that into, the next ones. So I learned a lot from, failures along the way. It's not all sunshine and stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think that's very normal for an indie creator. I think a lot of indie creators, including myself, have had a failed Kickstarter. So you can learn a lot from it, and it seems like you did, because you've been pretty successful since. So I guess that's all good, right, Joseph? I mean, you've had some pretty crazy titles, right? I was just going through the website, man. Clash of the Cryptids, Slasher Royale, Wendigo Wood, Stay Awake, Goatman, Moth Hill, Folk Tales of the Cryptid. Man, you've got, like, I would love to understand like the thought process and the story development process, because that's a lot of different titles all within the same genre. Like, are you just dreaming of like horror stories? Like, how are you producing so much of this?
Yeah, I say to myself, just a sucker for trying to find something on Netflix or Amazon Prime that you want to watch, but it's just not there. You scroll for like an hour and you just end up falling asleep or something because it's too late to start the film. And so I was like, what am I looking for more of? And I'm a big fan of high concept, simple ideas with like a bit of a twist on it. That like starts off with Ghost Island, my first one. It was always Ghost Island, but with Jurassic Park, but with ghosts. Yeah. Slasher Royale, Battle Royale with slashes. It's people. You need that hook to get people in. And I've got favorite films. I've got like Silence of the Lambs, and like it's like those favorite films that you're like, you don't really get them. You try and find something like that, but there isn't like that. That's why it's great. So, some of those my favorite films, you might see elements in it in like Moth Hill. Like I always say, it's a bit like Silence of the Lambs. Imagine Buffalo Bill, but it's the Mothman. That kind of crime horror story element. So I'm just trying to make more of what I like, basically, without just copy. I would never want to remake something that's already out there, because it's just pointless. Somebody can just watch the film or so. But it's like certain elements of films that I like the most. I sprinkle a bit of it in there into the mix of this, high concept idea that I really like, and gets me excited at the end of the day. If you're like 50% or 60%, or it's just like you're not going to be. How long yourself it is to do a comic series. That is going to turn into another full-time job. It's just a slog trying to get that out at the end of 6 issues or whatever. So it's really about just taking these elements from things that you already enjoy. I'm basically I'm selfish, and I'm just making things that I want to see and what I like. I'm never like pandering to readers or audience. They want to see more of this, they want to. Sure, if they want to see more of like a series or something, I'll make more of it, kind of thing. But I'm never really making it for, oh, they will like this, or so, because I think you'll easily lose focus on you're writing yourself, you're writing for, that if you're enjoying it, hopefully other people are enjoying it as well, because they're a fan of you.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it comes across as a reader, right? When you know that the writer and the story, there is enjoyment in what they do, right? And that comes across as you're reading, right? And once in a while, you'll read a comic book and you'll see that not necessarily that maybe the writer's not enjoying the story, but maybe the writer and the artist aren't on the same page, and you could feel it. It just throws everything off. And I think it would be the same thing if the writer is just telling a story to tell the story, but doesn't really enjoy it or is not invested in the story. So yeah, I think that makes perfect sense that it needs to start with what do you enjoy first, because that story has to come across. And when it does, it'll attract the right people, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's spot on. About being on the same page with the artist. Quite literally.
Yeah.
Um, I've been very fortunate over the years. Like the to have this many comics is a testament to the artists that I work with as well. Everyone's always, most of the time on time with deadlines and stuff, and I hardly request any revisions at all because I come from like a quite cinematic background. I tell them how to frame the shots, and I'm not like, oh, you need to stick to this, strictly. It's all about their interpretation. But 9 times out of 10, it's spot on. So we're so lucky to have met some great artists to be on the same page with, like you say, because it can get tricky, and I'm really fussy with artwork. It's just it has to be a certain style. I think that's down to it being the horror genre as well. It has to look like kind of grounded and quite gritty to I like to have the stories grounded, obviously, so the reader is can either relate to characters, or if they're in that scenario, that kind of feel. So yeah, the artists have been great, basically.
I mean, the art looks absolutely incredible. Luckily I was able to read, thank you for sending it over, Districts of the Yokai. And man, the art throughout that is brilliant. I mean, it's really good, really, really good. So it all came across really nicely, and obviously the story was really cool. And I cannot wait to see issue number 2, man. The cover, just if you go to the cover on Kickstarter. This is a terrible. I could probably pull it up, but the cover looks awesome.
My wife hates it.
I mean,
she, she
maybe
she
horror
gets
is not her thing, or
yeah. Oh yeah, she hates horror,
oh yeah,
but
that's all.
she does really well at selling them at Comic Cons. So that's
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she just closes her.
it's the whole
Says buy this. Buy this.
it's the whole you heard of is it trypophobia or something, the
Yeah,
fear of like holes and stuff. It's that kind of that you can't look at it, so I know I've done well already.
you got one person freaked out. That's for sure, right? Can you sorry, can you talk a little bit about some of the influences? I know you mentioned Robert Kirkman is certainly an influence. Are there other influences that you took from the comic world or the movie world that you're trying to like pattern what you're trying to do within your comics?
um I'm just trying to kind of like philosophy really is to just because we're indie, um we're dependent on the funding of the comics through crowdfunding, basically through Kickstarter. And for me, it's just important to um, I really want to be like the top of the pile when someone thinks of an indie publisher in the UK. That for me, that's really great. And then hopefully we can go international, and in America, you'll see us at Comic Cons. That's always the dream to start touring there. But yeah, just to start off in the UK, and it's already great that people recognize us at Comic Cons. And I was just in London Comic Con 2 weekends ago, and people come through the doors and saying we're the first table at the stop that to come and see. And this is London. This is like there's so many stores and stuff, and that's just amazing to hear. So if we can keep growing, all in the right direction, the crowdfundings keep getting funded. I mean, we're at 40. If we can keep growing and growing, I just want to respect the reader's time and investment, finish the series that we've started in, a respectable time frame, not 4 or 5 years waiting for, a 4 issue series or something like that. My last crowdfunding campaign, Mothville 4, funded this month. I've fulfilled it like 80%, a week after the campaign finished. And
Nice.
I just want to keep that tempo up, you know, of for loyal backers, new backers, that you will always get, you know, your comics delivered to you through Kickstarter, because, you know, at the end of the day, there's a lot of crowdfunders out there that have took the money and ran, and, you know, people lost a lot of faith through the platform sometimes, and that takes backers from you and I, you know, from ever coming back to the platform. So it's about respecting that. I just want to keep telling great stories, to be honest. I'm very fortunate, lucky position to be able to do that. So if I just keep putting another step in front of the other, you know, that's I'm all in the right direction. I'm more than happy to, you know, keep going.
Yeah, I mean, from a Kickstarter standpoint, it's so crucial that you're very upfront on when backers can expect their comic. And I have backed things that it's been 8 months, 9 months, and I'm not sure when I'll ever get what I backed. So, you know,
Mm.
it's unfortunate. I'm not sure what Kickstarter could do, unless they're, you know, it's not their first time in the platform. You know, they could obviously deplatform them from
Mm.
Kickstarter, but unfortunately, it happens, man. So yeah, you help all of us when you fulfill as quickly as you do, right? Because that's what people want, right? It's not you know, Kickstarter, sometimes people look at it, and I don't know if in the UK they have kind of the same thoughts sometimes, but it's not a hand me out, right? It's not something free. You're just purchasing the comic through Kickstarter, right? But you're buying a comic book. I mean, you could go to the comic book store or you could go to Kickstarter. It's very similar, right? Except you're going to find a lot of unique stuff on Kickstarter as opposed to the you know, your traditional comic book store where maybe it's a little more superhero focused. Like our comic book store here is probably 80% superhero. And then the ones that aren't, right, are independents, and they just don't carry a lot of independents. So you got to go to Kickstarter for those type of things. So yeah, I mean, you gotta fulfill quickly, man. That way people come back and want to support, right?
Yeah, well, even if you don't fulfill quickly, I know not everyone can do that. But if you
Yeah,
just from day one, I've always been open, honest, and
yeah,
where you're at with the updates and timeline of things, just be,
yeah.
you
That's
know,
it. Transparency.
become transparent. You know, that's key, and that's how you gain trust as well. You know, oh, they did say that. Okay, well, I'll wait till then. You know, it's I've been that from day one, and I think that's been crucial to, you know, some of the success that I've had. Even with issue two, yeah, of Ghost Island, when it failed, I was like just open and honest and apologized. I even apologized for like just uh, doing a bigger book and trying to take a bigger bite of a chunk that I maybe shouldn't have, and, you know, got a bit ahead of myself. And, you know, we pulled our socks up and came back, and, you know, fulfilled soon after that. You know, and yeah, transparency, like you say, man, it's just so key to some of the success on Kickstarter as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you walk through a little bit of your portfolio of comics? Are most of them like 4 or 5 part series, or do you have a couple that are ongoing that you have a longer story and that people can kind of get really invested in? Because is it a little bit of a blend between the two, I assume, with all those titles?
Yeah, there's a few different parts and stuff. So, Ghost Island was originally going to be was my first comic series, and was going to be like my Walking Dead. You know, I was going to do 100 issues and all this. I quickly realized on the indie scene, yeah, it's going to be quite difficult. So, I'd love to have an ongoing series, like number of issues and stuff. But in terms of indie, managing stock, reprinting, back issues and things, it's just it'd be so difficult. I'd love to, you know, maybe if we got to that stage, but at this point, you know, in the journey, can't do any ongoing ones. But I have got like in terms of ongoing, like a folk tales of the cryptids. So that's like a anthology series, and you get like 4 short horror stories, each based on a cryptid or something inside the. And we're on like volume 3 of that now. And so that's like you know, volumes that you can get. And I did a trilogy series of Goatman. And then most of them, Ghost Island was the longest. It was 6 issues. We finished that. Moth Hill is 6 issues now. We've finished number 4. Just 2 more of that. But I'm kind of sticking to like 5 4 issues for me now. It's because it's just that time frame of, you know, finishing that story and managing stock levels and stuff. We've got to make this functional in terms of it's a business, you know. We've got to, obviously all the artists get paid, and we need to manage how how much is invested in places, and so to do like longer run series, you know, we're gonna have to print bigger books. The postage is gonna go up. Obviously, we're in the UK, so a lot of my audience is like 30% UK and 70% US, basically.
Wow.
So a lot of them go abroad. So I try to, you know, keep the paper thinner for the single issues, and then we can go bigger for the larger books, you know, because expect to pay a bit more for the larger books. But yeah, just trying to keep the series really limited now, because obviously indie, you know, you have to manage all these things. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and also going to these conventions is the suitcases are getting too heavy to do 6 issue series of everything now. It's crazy.
Your approach to some of these shows, are you taking everything that's on your website, like a little bit of everything? Is that the goal, is to try and put as much diversity in all your titles as possible? Or do you just focus like on the last 2 years, maybe just because you have so many titles?
No, everything goes on the table. Except the variant copy issues, they're only available for the website then. Just because there's so much limited space. Because they don't just publish my comics now. We publish a bunch of other people's comics. We publish Andy Hamilton's Sons of Heaven, Jorge Hamelio's Elena, Section 7, which is a Polish adaptation that we did. Worms Crawl Home from Dan Schmidt. And so we have to, you know, it's not just my table, you know, we put all these other comics, you know, in full front view. And I think I'm squeezing about 30, I managed to squeeze about 30 comics on a 6 foot table now.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is getting touch and go now though. So I'm gonna have to start like squeezing some of these books into like the trades.
That's awesome. Now, so I didn't know that part. So you are actually publishing on behalf of other creators too, which is incredible, man. That's like a whole nother business model that you have to set up for yourself, I assume, right?
Yeah,
Are
yeah, absolutely.
all a horror genre as well? Like everything fits
Yeah.
within the horror? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, everyone's horror. Yeah. So Elena was inspired by a true story. It's like a German doctor that dug up his dead wife and tried to bring her back to life with medicine. And then Worms Crawls in, like our zombie series that we've got with Dan. And Sons of Heaven's like a Scottish folk tale. So yeah, basically, when I started publishing other people's comics, the idea come to me was, I wish I'd have had a horror comics publisher in the UK somewhere to go to that would do what I'm doing now, basically, or just approach and speak to, and you know, get some advice. So yeah, submissions are open 365 days of the year on the website, where people can just post a preview of, you know, like a 6-page sample minimum of art to see what's happening. But yeah, I'm always scouting for, you know, other horror comics as well. Elena was actually like top 5 horror comics on Webtoons that I reached out to, and you know, we put that in a vault. We do like a complete hands-off approach for the artist and writer. We take care of like the printing, the proofs, lettering, shipping, fulfillment. You know, it's like, and then you know, they get the royalties of all the sales and stuff. So I try to make it as easy and seamless to them, you know, as it is, because you know, I'm taking the helm of their book. It's down to me to, you know, get it in people's hands. So yeah, it's really exciting, and you know, submissions come in, always reviewing them and seeing where we're up to. And we've got a Japanese manga artist. We're doing our first horror manga comic coming around early summer. I'm really excited about that because his style is just like epic Junji Ito kind of. It's right up my street. As I say, most of these things are what I like, so I want to share it with other people, and hopefully they're on the same wavelength, you know, to to get into it.
I mean, that makes perfect sense. I don't know about the UK, but in the US, manga is really giving comic books, traditional comic books, a run for their money. And when you go to like a traditional Barnes and Noble, you'll have, I don't know, 5 rows of manga, and you'll have maybe 1 or 2 rows of comic books. So for someone who's my age that grew up on comics, it's just so painful. But I do love manga. Don't get me wrong. I don't. There's nothing against it. I watch anime with my daughters because they don't read comic books either. They just watch anime on Netflix, and it pains me that no one loves Batman the way I love Batman or something. But it is what it is, right? But man,
It's
manga.
awesome to see that thriving, though. It is awesome to see it thriving.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I mean, it's great that it's thriving. It's great that it's something that's attracting new readers, right? So they're still in graphic novels. It's just unfortunately it's not some of the same types that I grew up with. And it's just sad for me. I have 4 kids and not one of them likes comic books. So I have failed as a
Maybe one day.
father.
Still a long time to go.
Yeah.
Well, it's like when I'm at these comic conventions, there's obviously a big anime crowd as well. A lot of anime cosplay, and at my table, I'm trying to. Obviously, we're only horror publisher house, so for me, I try to make a bit of everything. So I say to you, do you like slasher? We've got slasher royale. We've got supernatural. Do you like Ghost Island? And it's going to come down to like anime, manga. We've got this new manga horror comic here as well. And once you bring them over to the table, see my horror manga comic, they might look at the other comics and think, oh, Districts of the Yokai, Japan. So it's kind of like trying to get as many different tastes to the table as possible. So maybe even when they go into the comic shop and see the manga, and maybe they'll see the Batman. And think, oh, I like that.
Yeah, I hope so, but it's not happening very often, Joseph, to be quite honest. And trust me, man, I have fallen in love with Demon Slayer, Chainsaw Man, what Berserk, Guts. I could read that all day long. I mean, so it's amazing stuff. It's just I'm a comic book nerd through and through. So, but yeah, all good, man. There's a place for everybody, right?
Yeah.
So let's kind of get into this Kickstarter if we could, Joseph. This is pretty exciting, right? So this is issue number 2 for District of the Yokai. Can you kind of go into that first issue, which follows you? Hopefully I'm pronouncing his name right. Yuto,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So it follows him. This guy is probably not the greatest guy when you look at his history, right? His nickname was the Ghost. So he's had kind of a checkered past. But then, something has happened to his family. I don't know how much we want to give all the details away, because if they haven't read one, we don't want to spoil it. But unique character, and what happens, the tragedy that it takes place with this character kind of becomes the driving force toward the end of issue 1, and I assume continues in issue 2. Am I on the right track?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I can brief the issue 1 if you like.
Please, yeah. I really
cheers, man. It starts off with obviously Yuto and his son in a park, and he's basically retired from the life as a hitman, back to the area where his son and his former wife were still. So he was distanced from them, doing these hits and stuff. But the wife actually passes away, so it's down to him to leave that life behind and be in his son's life again, and rebond that relationship and build that up again. But tragically, his son's murdered by a yokai that was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and you basically Districts of the Yokai. There's all these obviously districts in Japan that are ruled on the underworld by these yokai, actually based on Japanese folklore as well, and rule in each district. And yeah, so Yuto doesn't really have any knowledge of this yokai, where they've emerged from. They're starting to slowly merge into society, and make appearances and stuff, and that will come out further in the narrative, further down the parts. But he begins, obviously, as a hitman. He's gonna go after revenge and find out who these yokai are, what they are, what they're doing, and who did this to his son. And yeah, it just spawns from there basically. I am a massive fan of the John Wick movies, so you can tell probably this is inspired a lot by John Wick, and but with a supernatural twist with the yokai and entity factor. You've got yokai that rule the districts that all sit at like this table, and they all have their own little quirks, and um, like I say, it's based on Japanese folklore, so they all have these different skills and weaknesses. But yeah, this actually started off as a one shot. That's why the issue ends kind of where it does, because I thought this was going to end here. But actually put a Kickstarter update, because I was having people come up to us at comic conventions saying, "I really love this issue. Is there going to be a part two?" And I was like, "No, I hadn't planned it." So I just put an update on Kickstarter saying, "Does anybody like to see more of this world?" It was originally just going to be an anthology of one shots, and I had like 45 comments saying, "Hell yeah, do it! I want more," and all this. So it's like, people want to. I really enjoyed writing this, so it's been extended into 4 parts now. So issue 2, is debuting tomorrow on Kickstarter, and yeah, I'm excited to reveal this next issue. It's more of action horror, and in the second issue, because Yuto has spilt the blood of a yokai, every yokai is like on high alert, and there's a hit on the hitman's head for the first time. So that's where it goes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was very John Wickish. I didn't notice that until you said it now, but now that I look back at the issue, I'm like, yeah, I could see some resemblance. A little bit, right? It's obviously a different story, but the character, there's some similarities. So there is a young lady that we find toward the end of the issue that helps him out. Will she also make an appearance in issue 2, or is her role ended now with issue 1, or is that revealing too much?
No, absolutely. So the part that I didn't say is he actually partners up with someone that also lost someone down to the yokai. And so they follow through the story on part 1, and yeah, she's just as integral side by side with him in part 2 to
Nice.
um, yeah.
I'm glad to hear that, because the first thing that I went to the Kickstarter page, which, because it's in kind of like view mode, you can't see some of the details yet, probably until tomorrow when it goes live, and then the campaign button comes up and you can read a little bit more. The first thing I was looking for is, will she be involved in issue 2? And I couldn't find the answer. So that was more for me, not for anybody else. I'm glad to hear that, man.
Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah. And even at the end of the issue, you're just like, oh, I'm saying too much.
Yeah. No, it's all good. All good, man. So tomorrow, 3 p.m. UK time, it goes live. So right now, people that are listening to this, they could go over there and hit the notify button. That way they're notified as soon as it goes live. That way you can transition from that follower to a purchaser and get your issue number 2. That is, like I said, I'll put up on the screen later, but I mean, you could see the cover right here, which I think is fantastic. No matter what your wife says, I think it's awesome. It's so freaky, man. I love it. I love it.
So what it is that he's like one of the district's yokai leaders, and on the actual full cover image, it's got the girl's image in a framed photo, and Yuto's on the table. So it
Nice.
gives a bit of description.
Yeah. It
But
doesn't
yeah,
show very much there. Yeah, that's
it's
awesome.
going to be just a 2-week campaign as well, really short, like Mothville 4 was earlier this month, and then I'm hoping to fulfill it like 2-3 weeks after
Okay.
it finishes as well, because the production of it's completely finished. I just need to letter it, which doesn't
Okay.
take too long, but
Yeah.
it'll be a quick turnaround for people again if they want to back it. And when you back our Kickstarters this year, you get it like it won't be available anywhere else for like 3 months online, kind of thing. So you're kind of getting that exclusivity. You get it first.
Yeah, a little early view before everybody else gets to see it, right?
Yeah,
A little reward for backing up.
yeah.
Good idea, man. That's a great idea. No, absolutely incredible. And then obviously you'll be able to add on issue one for those like me that was not aware that this existed. Now I know. So when I go to get my issue two, I could always add issue one on. So I have the. I'm a floppy guy, so I have to have the physical, man.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, I've got the first part here, the six Yokai one.
Nice. Yeah, that looks nice, man.
And yeah, so we'll have the bundles, we'll have signed copies. We've also got like Yokai trading cards as well.
Nice.
We've got two variant editions as well by guest artists. Um, this actually all spawned from this card game that we published called Clash of the Yokai.
I did see that on
Um,
your website. Yeah.
and there's like 40 yokai cards in there, and basically you split the deck with the other player, and they've got like stats on them like fear factor, mythos, stealth, and you're calling out the best stats against theirs, and then if yours trumps theirs, then you take their cards. So yeah, that will be available as an add-on for people as well if you want to learn more of like the lore behind, because a lot of that's what inspired me really. Some of the characters in the deck are in the comic. So
Nice. Is that kind of your approach when writing horror when you can, is kind of looking at different cultures and some of the lore that can be related to horror within those cultures? Does that seem to help kind of be a foundation for a good story in your experience?
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. For the like yokai, the folklore, sorry, folk tales of the cryptids. You know, I'm like talk about chupacabra, things like that. It's important to get like the details right, but I don't want to follow like too much of what's already out there, kind of thing. I want to put like a bit of a twist on it because people then expect it to be a certain way. Um, so yeah, it does help, but I try not to follow the tracks.
Yeah. Want
You
to keep
get me?
people on their toes, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah. So can you walk us through kind of your calendar for Comic Cons throughout the year? Are you coming to the US? Are you heading over there this year or maybe not this year?
No, not this year. I don't think. I've always wanted to and would love to do, but I think um, it's the difficulty of getting the books over there, and I know you can print the books there, but then it's the cost, and it's I've got three, I think I've got four trades at the moment. I wouldn't take any floppies with me because it's obviously it's going to be an expensive trip. We need to recoup the costs through the larger books, I think, through that one. So yeah, I obviously love to. Maybe I could do a stint at another publisher and they could invite me over and get over that way and then, get my feet under the table kind of thing. But at the moment, it's a little bit further away. But in terms of conventions in the UK, I've applied to like all the big ones, but they kind of don't let you know until like a month before. So can't really confirm where I'm going to be. But hope, fingers crossed, the usual ones like London, Wales and stuff like that.
Oh, that's excellent. What does the comic book scene look like in Wales for stores? Is there quite a few stores for people to get comics? Are they readily available like in most larger cities?
No, it's quite rubbish really. So like my nearest comic book shop is like 50 minutes away.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah, and Wales is kind of countryside
Yeah.
type place. So even the nearest city like Chester, that's not really got a comic shop. I've debated many a time of opening my own, but it might just be filled with my stuff. So I don't know how many people would go
Well,
in
you got about 40
there.
titles you could put in there.
I know, true, true. Maybe that's the goal. That's the long-term goal.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, yeah, I'd love to have a comic shop, local, but it's just, yeah, there must be a reason why they're not. It's not doing so well. So,
Yeah, I feel
yeah,
like online also has made it so simple. I mean, a lot of the publishers in the UK that I've talked to, you know, they do just fine online and through Kickstarter and Indiegogo. So it almost feels like your success isn't dependent on a comic book shop. Whereas in the US, we still have a very strong like comic book shop culture. So I live in a very small rural town. It's a lot of cows. I live near Palm Springs, about an hour away from Palm Springs. But even in my little town where I live, I have a comic book shop. It's a small one, but it's perfect. Palm Springs, that area has two or three. Um, Another 30 minutes the other way, there's another two. So we, you know, I probably within an hour have 6 comic book shops that I could get to. So, and I don't live in a big city, right? And then you get into LA and there's quite a few out there. So yeah, we're really fortunate. I think we're fortunate. I don't know. I mean, it seems like a lot of fans still like to go to the shop and pick up their comic books on a weekly basis. And we in the US, I don't know about the UK, but in the US, every Wednesday everything drops. So every single Wednesday you're going to your comic book shop to pick up your new comic books. Whereas if I'm not mistaken, in the UK, I think floppies are popular, but the trades are a little bit more popular, if I'm not mistaken, correct? So people look forward to the trade more than the floppy,
Um,
or not
can't
necessarily.
really say to be honest. I can't really say to be honest because I don't I don't have one that I get to go in or speak to
Yeah, yeah,
people about. Yeah, so that's awesome though. Six comic book shops in
yeah.
nearby. That's the dream. You know, I would you know being able to walk into one. You know, you get inspired, don't you? You know, and as
Yeah,
well being around stories like that. And yeah, I do miss being able to do that. You know, when I do go to a town or stuff, I always make sure I go like and try and pick up some issue ones or something and grab them. It's just not the same browsing online as it sometimes.
yeah, I
Um,
agree. I agree. I buy back issues or hard to find issues online, but I like to go to my comic book store. And I work in San Diego, which is about 2 hours from my house. And down there, there's probably, I mean, it's San Diego Comic-Con, right? So there's probably 30 comic book shops throughout San Diego. So there's a lot of places to go to look for comics down there. And my wife doesn't know this, but I almost every day I'm down there, I stop at a comic book shop and at least browse,
oh,
right? And maybe not buy
yeah,
every single time. I can't afford to buy every time because I have this other addiction with figures. But yeah, I try to go down there and I'll pick up something. Like I was just down there yesterday with my wife actually, and got some old Conan. So, you know, stuff like that is kind of fun. You're not gonna find that's
yeah,
harder to find online. So I just rather go through old back issues and like, oh, sweet. You know, this one of them has Neil Adams did the art, which is pretty awesome, man. Famous artist. So yeah, man, I love the culture of being able to walk into a store and kind of touching and feeling and browsing maybe a little bit. And so yeah, I will tell you the horror genre in the US is on fire. It's probably the top genre in the US for comic books right now. I don't know if you're familiar with James Tynion,
mm,
but he's killing it. The guy has like a different horror comic book every week. He has World Tree, which is on fire. He just did a Dracula for Skybound, which is selling like crazy. He's him and Cullen Bunn is another writer they're just so good at horror, man. They're just killing it right now. But yeah, horror is on fire. And obviously, you know, Spawn and Todd McFarlane, they're kind of the godfather of horror. Just because, you know, 31 years ago when he started Spawn, that kind of opened a lot of people's eyes to like, he's kind of a superhero, but on the other hand, this is really weird, freaky, crazy stuff that's going on in your comic book that's not normal. So I think it's considered kind of superhero, but it's more horror than anything, right?
mm,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
So you're in a good space. No wonder 70% of your sales is coming from the US. I think there's an appetite for that for sure.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Joseph, man, I mean, this is awesome. I can't wait to get mine. I will be there tomorrow at 3 p.m. your time, which is in the wee hours of my time, but I will make sure that I get my issue 1 and 2. I can't wait to have those in my hand and read them. And
Awesome.
man, I have a lot to shop for on your website. Just for people that are hearing this for the first time, they love horror,
Yeah.
and they know that you're the horror guy in the UK, award winning, by the way, the Enterprise Award, so which is pretty awesome. Yeah, where they could go to afterlightcomics.com. Is that what it is?
Yeah, AfterLightComics.com is the official website. So that's where we have all the comics listed officially. So basically, I'm surrounded by all the comics here. So they get shipped directly from me, and there's an option to add if you like them signed as well. Yeah, so we ship worldwide as well, obviously. Also, if they do want to grab any other comics, that I also make like the whole back catalog available in the add-on section as well, so you can add them on in the Kickstarters. I always try to list everything. I'm pretty sure everything's on there, so if they want to, bulk up the collection, you can do it quite easily.
That's awesome, man. That makes it really easy for everybody, and then you can get a little bit maybe better shipping price when you put all those together, as opposed to going to the website maybe later, right? Because shipping, man, I think from the UK to here, as someone who lives in the UK, it's not too bad. But I've tried shipping books to the UK, and man, like my little $6 comic book is like $37 to send for one. It's like crazy. Canada too, for some reason, it's just crazy. I don't know.
The good thing is though that you've got the bigger probably comic reading audience in the US,
Yeah.
rather than if it was like the other way around and it's $37 to ship to the big audience. That'd just be a kill. I wouldn't be able to do that. It's just, but there's a balance, isn't there?
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, Joseph, I don't know if we missed anything. Is there anything else that we should cover, man, for Afterlight?
Just yeah. So the website, if you want to follow us on social media, we're on AfterLight Comics on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, pretty much everything. And there's a newsletter on the website as well. We only email you like with updates of new comic series, behind the scenes when we launch. So it's like once or twice a month. So not too abrasive there, but yeah, that's about everything. It's going to be a busy year. There's like 10 Kickstarters planned for this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're producing like a Titan Comics. I mean, you're literally putting out like it's different titles, right? But you're almost to like one a month, which is insane.
So we're one down with Mothville 4 now, and then Districts of the Yokai. And in and amongst that is my first board game that I'm publishing as well in the summer. So that's a different mammoth on its own. So I'm trying to prepare for that. We're getting I'm getting the prototype in about 2 months' time, and then I'm doing my first UK Board Games Festival, and it'll tie into one of the comic series that we've got as well. So I'm excited about that.
You have a new series coming that will tie in with all of that?
So it's an existing kind of series. I won't say yet because they're not announced, but loosely based. Well, I'll say it's like it's a cryptid board game, basically a survival horror. And yeah,
you didn't have to
play on your own. You can play on your own, or you can play in a group. I'll say it. Yeah. Exclusive.
That didn't last for.
So yeah, it'll be coming out soon. So
that sounds awesome, man. That sounds incredible.
Yeah. It's never record times are busy. Like I say, it's mental in here, but we're cracking on, and hopefully by the end of the year, I'm either bald or grey. So
yeah, exactly. That's what's gonna happen, man. Hopefully you're just successful, man. But it seems like you've got a model that's working, and congratulations, man. I think a lot of independent creators want to get to the point where you're at, and you're there, my friend. So that's awesome.
Cheers, man. Well, there's also, as I say, down to the success of everyone that, like, the person that came up to you at Comic Convention for the first time, after the doors opened, and people that back me every time and follow me, and that I owe a lot to them as well, and try and respect that, and by fulfilling quickly, delivering, customer care, and making sure I look after everyone. So yeah, thanks to anyone watching that supports us as well, and new or old as well.
Yeah. Hopefully a lot of newer folks will find you for the first time and put some orders in. But Joseph, thank you so much for joining me today. Congratulations on all your success. Cannot wait to see live tomorrow, 3 p.m. UK time, which I don't even know what time that is. I think 8 o'clock here in the morning. So yeah, get ready to hit that back button. And we would love to have you back on anytime you want, Joseph. You always have a home here, and we would love to talk about some of the newer things that are coming later on in the year. So just let us know, okay?
Oh, awesome, Tommy. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, my friend. Well, have a great week, and we'll talk soon, okay?
You too, man. Take care.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.